Welcome back to the Fairway Performance channel. My name is Sean Dykov, a TPI certified golf fitness professional, and today I'm going to run you through a simple little activation exercise circuit that I use for the tour players that I work with, also the recreational and weekend golfers who just like to get a little bit of a workout in before they go out to the course, so they don't need an actual warm-up when they get to the range. They can just sort of hit the ground running, hit some wedges, hit some shots, hit some putts, and then get straight out on the course because they've done this to prepare themselves at home. So the circuit's going to be a few different exercises. It's going to involve mobility, it's going to involve some lower body work, some upper body work, and a little bit of core and rotation. So let's get stuck into it. Okay, firstly, we want to look at the 3 rotary centers of the body when we are looking at this activation circuit to get warmed up. So firstly, we're going to work on the hips, mainly internal rotation of the hips. So from this position where legs are out at 45 degrees roughly, turning the hips in so that the knee touches the floor and then back up. Now you might not be able to get the knee all the way down to the floor, but the goal is to just try and get it down there or get as low as you can, even if it's only to here, and it's just really testing and challenging that internal rotation for you. That's just fine. That's all we're asking for you to do when we do this exercise, just so that we get blood flowing and the body moving through that range of motion. Okay, second exercise and second rotary center of the body is the thoracic spine. So for this one, we are in all fours. I'm going to reach my left hand and replace it where my right hand was. And then from here, threading the needle underneath, reaching up to the sky and trying to pull my shoulder blades back and down together. So that one's really going to fire up your thoracic spine, get lots of blood flow through there, and hopefully build an extra little bit of rotation before you actually take this out to the course, so the body's really fired up and ready to go. Okay, then the last exercise for the shoulders for this little warm-up circuit is going to be snow angels facing the floor. So laying down like so, my forehead touching the floor, hands out by my side. I'm going to raise my hands and forearms off the floor, press them up overhead, bring them down to the side of my body, and then back to the start position. So hopefully the audio is okay on that one as I went through it, but essentially as we raise the arms off the floor, you should feel your shoulder blades pulling together and working hard. Pressing up overhead is going to be hard to maintain that position. You might have to press your forehead harder into the floor to be able to hold it there. Once you reach that full extended or fully outreached position, elbows back down by your side into that start position and then back down. It essentially looks like a press overhead, but just with our hands obviously facing the floor. So pressing up and then back down, but raising the arms off the floor and then going through that press. Okay, now the first of the lower body exercises that we're going to do to get things fired up and moving is we're going to do a incline cable pull. All right, so what we're going to use here is our legs and our lower body to really drive the movement. So we're pushing our leg into the floor, driving our hip up and back, and then throwing in a row as well on top of it. So what this is doing is it's priming your body for actually when you go into your golf swing, because with our lead leg and our swing, when we drive pressure into that and push forwards and down, the hip should be going up and backwards, so it creates the rotation in our hips. So that's what we're trying to prime for, particularly with this lead leg. So setting up for this one is in a split stance. You can use a cable, you can use, this is a pneumatic cable machine that I'm using. You can use a band if you have it at home. From here, half a lunge as we go down to the bottom, nice and slow. As we come up, we're driving this left leg for me into the ground and then adding a rotation in. Okay, so a little more explosive than that. So lowering down, almost as if you're trying to pull the cord on a lawnmower. So with that forward foot, driving forwards and down, hip goes up and back, adding the rotation as we go to add in some pulling and thoracic rotation, sequencing with our lower body. Now the second lower body movement is a lateral step up onto a bench or a box. So choose something that's an appropriate height where your knee is about in line with your hip, or if anything slightly, your knee is slightly lower than your hip, just so it makes it a bit easier. We don't want to go into too much of a deficit with this because we don't want to get too sore. We just want to literally just prime the body, activate it, and get us ready to actually move into session. So from this position, driving into this leg, trying not to use my trail leg to do anything. And when I stand up to the top, I'm going to fire this leg across my body so that we're getting some rotation in there, keeping the upper body facing as straight ahead as possible. So stepping up, across the body, and then back down. Stepping up, across the body, and back down. So going through each side, obviously for this one, just like we did for the last one with the cable row. Okay, the next movement is bench dissociation push-ups. So with this one, what we're doing is we're trying to get the chest fired up and by doing push-ups, and then getting the lower body involved by doing some rotations or dissociation-based movements. So with this one, setting up for your normal push-up position, so hands at shoulder width apart, fingers just turned out slightly. From here, lowering down till my chest touches the bench, firing up hard, and as soon as I fire up hard, left knee goes to right arm, and then opposite side. So we'll go down, fire up, right knee to left elbow. Okay, so going right side to left side to right. Doing about 10 reps here when we do this one, because the push-up isn't as hard as it should be, because having the bench at a height actually makes the push-up a lot easier for us to do. So there's not a whole lot of load, etc. going through the chest. It's more a lighter movement that we can move more quickly to fire things up and activate them, like I've been talking about. And then throwing in that dissociation or lower body movement while we're bracing the upper is obviously helping prime us for getting the body moving for our golf swing. Okay, the next movement for lower and upper body, mainly for upper body because we're trying to fire the dumbbell up over our head in a press position. And we're also incorporating the lower body so that we get some dissociation working as well. You can see a common theme here is we're not just focusing on one part of the body, we're trying to move primarily one part, but then two, bring in and incorporate the other parts so that we're getting dissociation and we're getting coordination-based movement to fire everything up in the one circuit. So with this one, we're going to do a split stance push press. So with the dumbbell set on your shoulder, you're going to have your feet apart. So one foot out in front, one foot behind. I'll just step back so you can see it a little more easily. So from this position, dipping down and then driving straight up overhead. Dipping down, driving straight up overhead. So having the split stance, what that's doing is it's putting us into a little bit of instability. So it's making us a tiny bit unstable, and it's not as strong a position as having our feet together and driving straight up and down into the floor to go upwards with the weight or our bodies. So having the feet in that split just adds a little bit of a core element to it. So we're having to brace, hold it there, press, bracing, holding there, bit of anti-rotation, and then going through the repetitions there. Okay, next one is the good old-fashioned Russian twist. So using that same weight that I used for the push press there, heels on the floor, going side to side. Can go pretty dynamically, pretty quickly because I'm pretty warmed up at this stage. If you want to make it a tiny bit harder and bring a little more dissociation into the movement, then what you're going to do is start with one heel off the floor and then do the same thing. So it makes it a little bit trickier. Do half the repetitions with that, switch feet over and then do the other half of the repetitions like that. Or if you want to make it really hard, heels off the floor, going side to side. And the hard thing is to try and keep our feet out in front and off the floor. We're just having to bring in more core activation and brace our core up a little harder, and it makes it harder to hold that position while we do that rotation. So it means you've got better dissociation, better core control, and more core strength because you can go through that. So a couple of different options there depending on the skill level and strength level you're at for you to give a try. Okay, and then this last one is actually one of my favorites at the moment. So with this one, what we are doing is setting up in our golf posture, so hinged forwards, pretending as if I'm holding a golf club out in front. From here, pressing the dumbbell out in front, raising it back, and then down in front of me. So what you'll feel as you do this one is obviously when we're going to pull a golf club back, it's going to be a few hundred grams. For this, just because I didn't want to swap out the dumbbell, this is a 15 pound. Normally I'd use like a 5 or a 10 pound, especially for demonstration, so I'm not struggling so much. But with this, essentially you'll feel everything starting to brace up. So as soon as I hold it out there and that weight's moved away, I'm having to fire up my core and midline in order to hold that position, because I need to brace that up, otherwise I'm going to get folded forwards, the weight away from my center of mass. And then as I turn into my backswing, you're really having to feel everything load up. You're not able to do this and start out here because then the weight's going to go flying away. So what it does is it centers us and it enables us to turn into our hips. Yeah, and then we're having to brace and hold all those muscles as we go back. Yeah, you'll feel it everywhere from down the side in the obliques to in the abs to in the shoulders, maybe even up into the traps a little bit as you hold it out wide. but we're going to be firing up a whole lot of stuff. And this one I didn't mention at the start is called a hinge rotation, and it's one of my favorite ones at the moment for my activation sessions for myself and for some of the clients that I work with. Okay, so there's an activation session that I would run through for anyone from tour players and the guys that I work with on different tours around the world, to the guys and girls who are following it and just club golfers, recreational golfers, or just weekend warriors. What it's going to do is it's going to fire up all the rotary sensors in our body. It's going to get all the muscles firing in which we need for the golf swing. And even if you were just to do 2 rounds of all of those exercises that I've just run through there, you can already, like I'm already feeling a tiny little bit of a sweat, and I've just done 1 full circuit of it and been moving the camera around to get this video done. But just in that, you're going to have elevated heart rate. You're going to be warming the core temperature, which is what a warm-up is for, to warm the body's core temperature. And then you might even be getting a little bit out of breath and a little bit puffed and sweating from it. So you know that it's a really good warm-up or activation style circuit when you get those 3 things. Now, if you have any questions on this, or there's anything in there that didn't quite make sense and you have comments, questions, please leave them below. Every single comment that you put down below, I'll respond to personally. I'd really love it when people do that, because then obviously I know how to create the next videos or create more helpful content, which is going to be good for you guys in the future. So if you could do that, it'd be wonderful and much appreciated. And until next time, play well, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.